Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Lethal Sales. We are so happy you're here. Thanks for coming. Tonight's topic is about inventory. Once upon a time, not very long ago, there wasn't any, and now there is lots. So, how do we pivot and change the way we do business? And it looks like Peter, with his sunburn, is ready to get going on that.
Man, I thought it was Stellantis or something. I don't know.
Stellantis is they're in some concerns right now. So
I think
we're gonna leave that
is
one
it
for another
Stellantis?
day. So what inventory? Inventory is actually up just a little bit over 2019 levels, but the sales rate is down from the last 5 years. So dealers are spiraling, going, what are we going to do next? How are we going to change this dimensional issue that they have? So one of the things that I believe to change this is we have to go back to the foundational cores of sales. And I'll give you a little example. As I was about 5-6 weeks ago, I was asked to do a mystery shop on a dealership for a couple of our good friends on here, and I did the mystery shop. It was a BMW dealership in Pennsylvania. I sent in a lead and I asked them for a car in stock. I said, I need it before August. My son's going to school. I'm giving it to him as a gift. It's a cash deal. I'm Canadian. You're in Pennsylvania. He's going to a U.S. college. Need to get it done and as quickly and easily as possible. Well, it took them 5.5 hours to contact me. And then after I gave them a couple little slight objections to see how they would handle it, they never contacted me again.
Huh.
Except for as I was driving back from Chicago today, I get an email. You know, you sent us a lead about a month and a half ago. What have you done? That was my very first contact with them. So if we have inventory challenges, wouldn't it be best to understand how our salespeople are dealing with our high level or low funnel leads? What are they
They're
doing?
not.
They're not. They're not. They never have. We all know that. That's why the average salesperson sells 10 cars a month. We need to get in there and start coaching and looking at the actualities of what's happening on the sales floor. Stop beating people with sticks, start coaching them and leading them in the right direction. If we don't do that, it's just going to get worse. And then the turnover is going to get worse. And then the talent pool is going to get worse. And then Larry's going to be a millionaire.
What's wrong with that? What's wrong
and the
with
problem
that?
is what?
There's no problem for you.
That?
No problem for you, my friend. And that was my lead into you.
Sure. Well, since we're about solutions here, and welcome Boyd and all our buddies and Mike Larkin and everybody. I think the first thing we should do we all agree that dealers are fabulous at organizing community projects that help, right? So what I would suggest, being the absolute neutral participant that I am, an observer, how about a political drive to vote Republican this November, so we get rid of the idiots that keep
That's the fucking solution.
rate,
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh my God.
raising the interest rate, and then raising
the
the
God-fearing
spending.
person himself.
Because listen, I'm not humble. I think I can sell a car and make people like me as good as anybody breathing on this planet. It's tough to say to somebody that $400 payment is now $911. Interest rates are a tough thing. If it's a $50 bump, Mike Larkin, Russell Hill, Jeff can do it in his sleep. Peter can put them. But when we're talking hundreds of dollars and every other area of your bank account is stressed, I'm kind of on my soapbox because I'm just a little crazed that I had to get up this morning. I don't sleep much anyway, and see them celebrating in Afghanistan with our equipment and our weapons. Okay. So I think we need to address the fact that, as scary as things are, our country's in trouble. I mean, for some odd reason, people are telling me, yeah, I know Trump's a narcissist. He's this, he's that. I don't want to date him. Just want him to fix things up, straighten out the border, get the economy rolling, and back Israel. So I think that's one thing. The second thing is absolutely positively, Peter's right. We got to get back to the basics. The sales force in America has some superstars and a lot of nice people, but it's got the largest collections of morons this side of Congress. All right. Russ, I sent everybody out today at 20 some people in class to mystery shop. And I guarantee it's, my mystery shop, Russell, by now. I'm looking for a car for my sister, just had a baby. If it's my age or your age or Peter's, we say, looking for a car for my daughter, which makes you grandpa. We won't get one good response. There won't be one person smart enough to say, boy or a girl, is it her first? Congratulations on being an uncle or a grandfather. Nobody's going to get a card till the end, if at all. Nobody's going to get nobody's going to get introduced to a manager. So on one hand, we've got to shift the political sands, because if, God forbid, the Democrats get in and this lunatic gets in as president, I don't care how good you are, how smart you are, how disciplined you are, we're swimming upstream. Okay. And my last thing, and then I'll shut up. I'm really sick of people that are selfish. Okay. Guys, ladies, I don't care if gas is $100 a gallon. Okay. I have my recess money from 20 years ago. Whatever happens, I'm fine. But I have friends that can't afford groceries, or have to decide whether they want to do this or put gas in the car. So my first thing is, let's get our country back. Let's let everybody that's swayable understand what's at stake. And second, let's get back to basics. The pandemic was no help. Okay. The turnover with the management, the uncertainties were no hope, but there's still hope. Okay. It's easy to slam people younger than us, but there's not a more conscientious person that I know of than Jeff's son. And he's a young guy. I had a couple people in class today that would have knocked your eyeballs out of your head. They were focused, they were disciplined, they wanted to learn. So let's fix the country, and let's absolutely positively fix our sales force. By the way, Boyd Harrison is from California. Boyd, you have my deepest sympathies for living in California. Okay. It's frightening. I threw the bait to Russell, and he didn't even take it. But my thing is, if you were on the dock and you only had one life preserver, and Gavin Newsom and Nancy Pelosi were drowning, where would you eat lunch? Okay. So the woman that destroyed San Francisco and put in anything under 950 is not a theft, is not a felony, now wants to run the entire country. And who she put in behind her? The guy whose wife opened the windows so she could hear the city burn, because that was the smell of freedom. Remind me, Russell, not to go to their house for a barbecue. That's it. That's all I.
So let me ask you, not that I know where some of those talking points came from, but did you experience some kind of real selfishness today somewhere? I'm just curious.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I have a lot of friends. I'm not bragging. I'm blessed. Okay. Crazy as I am, Russell, Mike, as you found out, people actually like God knows why. And a lot of my friends are broke. In fact, they all owe me money, but that's enough. And a lot of my friends are rich. And the rich friends, I love them. I care about people. But I'm getting ready to punch somebody in the mouth, because I just had a guy say to me, Larry, I made a fortune on this and that. I'm doing great. I didn't ask you about you. How about the people that aren't doing great? How about the fact that we're supposed to be all in? Russell, you and me and Mike Larkin, Boyd remembers when 9/11, this country was like this. We ain't like this anymore. Okay, did you all see the news with the woman that was raped, and she was raped by a guy that had a sexual assault, and they let him back in?
Yeah.
What planet are we on? Sanctuary cities? This is what George Washington ran around with, no weapons and no proper costumes in Valley Forge? So you could say to the authorities, you can't get in. We're not letting you in.
God
We're
damn it,
lawless.
Larry. Run for president.
No. I got more skeletons in my closet, okay, than Bill Clinton. Luckily, my wife's nicer than Hillary, so I won't get screwed up that way.
Okay, that was a good rant, though.
I
just had enough. Haven't you all had enough?
Yes,
Yes.
absolutely.
Can you hear me, Gary?
Boyd, we can absolutely hear you. For anybody that doesn't know, I'm trying to land, Boyd, He's a super professional ex-dealer. And man, he's still got the itch to help. Boyd, tell everybody a little bit about you. And do me a favor, just try not to get too upset or political because I don't allow that on the show.
Well, I graduated from Ford Motor Company minority dealer program, and they helped me get
Hold on. Henry Ford was an anti-Semitic bastard. I have to say that, or Rhonda won't like me. Keep
Right.
going, Boyd.
I've had several dealerships. I just sold a Ford dealership in Lake Powell, Arizona, because I couldn't get inventory during COVID. But what you said, Larry, is true. Dealerships have to get back to basics. For the last year, I was a consultant for CDK, and I was in tons of dealerships, and I was really amazed to see how bad dealerships are being run anymore. They're not.
Boyd, hold on, because I'm going to let you continue because I know what a good guy you are. Listen, imagine you go into a restaurant and you start to order, and the lady says, "Are you sure you want to eat anything? Because you're fat." You'd say, Larry, that's ridiculous. That's what happens at every dealership in America. How's your credit? You have any money? Russell, every day I ask the same question in training. What do you say to the guy that says, I only have 10 minutes, I got to go watch my son play ball? And for everybody that says, what does your son play? I get 30 answers that make no sense. Most people don't realize, most salesmen think that service is on the other side of the galaxy, or it's at the end of the world. That you go there, you're full.
No, you're right.
Okay?
You're right.
I don't know about California, but Ohio and Virginia don't allow you to write a bird dog or referral check. But I'm a Philly guy that made his mark in Trent and New Jersey.
But same here, Larry.
Write a check
no bird dogs here.
Well, listen, you got Gavin Newsom. You've had enough blessings for one lifetime. If you can write a check for $100, how can you possibly not sell a car every day? Rich people drive their Bentleys across town to save 3 cents on a gallon of gas. The whole world's broke. The whole world's in trouble. Everybody needs money, and everybody hates car salespeople, but they don't hate you, whoever you are individually. Good, Boyd. I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I'm a little worked up today.
No, I'm enjoying this. I have to come on next time too. But back what I'm saying, they have to go back to basics. They're not working their CRM correctly. They're not working the service drive.
Oh, wait a minute, Boyd. I take issue with that. It's not fair to make these salesmen put all that information in the CRM. I mean, it's so selfish of the dealer to maybe want to track the people that are actually in their building so you can follow up with them.
No,
That's another thing. I didn't have time to put the information in. Do you have the time to go broke? Go ahead, Boyd. And Mike, stop interrupting. He's new here, will you?
Peter made a good point. He contacted the dealership and they took 4 days to get back to you. That's what I'm talking about.
11 days, right?
And that's what I'm talking about.
No. It was 4 days. After the metric conversion, it was 11 days. Remember, he's Canadian.
It was 6 weeks.
Yeah, but that's what I'm talking about. They're not working the CRM correctly. Nobody's following up. People do what you inspect, not what you expect.
Yep.
So
now remember, this is from the guy whose governor spent $24 billion to fix homelessness. There's more homeless people, and nobody can figure out whatever happened to the $24 billion. Russell, can you and me put $1,000,000 in to cure homelessness? We'll do it for $1 billion. We can disappear that.
Okay, let me tell you something, Larry. I'm this close to going off the freaking rails and joining your parade. I'm telling you
Let's
what.
go, baby.
Now I'm starting to get freaking fired up, but I'm going to contain myself because this.
And so you don't know, Boyd, Russell makes sense. Not only is he a guy that turned his life around, not only is he successful, but he's got a great picture of John Lennon and no picture of Yoko Ono. Okay.
Understood.
See, because I don't know if you know this, Russell is a religious man, and his only questioning of God is why didn't Chapman shoot Yoko by accident? McCartney and Lennon could have hugged at the funeral, and we would have had the Beatles back together. See, I got it all figured out, Russell.
Listen, this is The mystery shopping is the same today as it was 30 years ago.
Mhm.
True.
There's no difference. Okay. This is all, we all got jobs because of this kind of stuff. Larry, I got to say this. The ones that are making the difference are right here in places like this, associating with people that want to make a difference. The first place it starts is with me. And I do my best to influence people in a positive way. Larry, I don't even know what it's like. I mean, I do have some idea. These people, I mean, I'd be pumped up, fired up in one of your training sessions, etc. But do you ever go back 3 to 6 months later and see how they got caught in the negative quagmire crap?
The reason, by the way, none of this is bragging. I think I have a better attitude of gratitude than anybody I ever met, because I swear to God, no matter how bad it is, I always think it could be worse. Hey, there's my boy, Fred.
Yeah.
I stay in
Well,
touch with these people.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say his name because he's working on something and I'm not supposed to say it, but it looks like I got a nice deal put together. And the guy called me and he said, Jesus Christ. He says, you answered your phone. I said, why doesn't everybody answer their damn phone? The point is, when I hire people, Russ, I tell them, call me anytime you need me.
I know. And you
Because-
do.
Yeah. Oh, listen, I'm not bragging. If somebody gives me 2 days of their time and a leap of faith, isn't it good to follow up? Listen, virtue.
Well, I
has to
mean,
be-
I now understand why Jeff is such a close friend, because you tapped into his AI, and that's all he's done is, he's replicated your voice and answers the phone when you can't answer it.
Jeff, I like that. No. Jeff Shearer told me, I actually approached him and he said, Larry, I can never find a way to make AI as annoying as you are. You said it, Jeff.
Yeah. Sometimes I get really twisted in these rooms we're in, because yes, but here's the thing. If we can just impact one person, plant a seed and water it from time to time and see them turn around, because I'm telling you what, they threw me out with the baby bathwater years ago. Parents disowned me. Nobody'd have anything to do with me. Nobody would give me a shot. Nobody would do, you know what? And so we know it can happen, but for the most part, people really don't. People don't really, they can, but they don't, because they don't understand what it takes to actually do that. And it's not,
It's who you pick, Russell. Listen, one of the most important skills you can have is who you choose to surround yourself with.
It's a choice.
Listen, Peter, I'll just go down the road. Peter Smith, I met Peter Smith at NADA and we became friends. And then Peter Smith jumped in on Lethal Sales because Brian Maxwell was so busy, couldn't be on, and I wanted a steady presence. This crazy man drives across the country to make sure he's home in time for the show. So here's a guy who 2 years ago I didn't know, and now he's locked in. He cares. He does what he says he's going to do. Mike Larkin would do anything for anybody. Boyd Harrison is living in California, okay, which is like, it's like a biblical plague that he has to live through. Jeff Shearer, all Jeff Shearer has done since I've met him was introduce me to his son, go out to dinner with me, and hang with me. If there's a better guy, I don't know. Wendy and Fred, maybe A and 1A, the two nicest people in the business. I'll never forget, I was in Phoenix with them and I had to go back, and Fred got up at the crack of dawn and drove me to the damn airport. Man, we had so much fun on the way to the airport. It was great. And me and Russell, man, what a rewarding relationship we've had. We didn't know each other a while back. We talk to each other. We share stuff. So the point is, who do you choose? If you choose the wrong people, if you surround yourself with the wrong atmosphere, you're asking for trouble. You're asking for problems. This is not an easy situation, life. It's tricky. And nobody's going to get out alive. So as soon as you understand we're at limited time and you decide to maximize it and make everybody better, make yourself better, you roll. Virtue has to be its own reward because they've stopped giving out trophies for it. You got to get up in the morning and say, I'm going to have fun, I'm going to make a difference, and I'm going to have a good time doing it.
But but there's so much more to that. There's roots in that. People make those decisions every single day and they don't follow through because they're going to get started tomorrow or next week.
Well, I'm lucky, and I believe everybody on this program is lucky because I know you well. I'm a schizophrenic. I appear to be completely insane, which I am, but I'm very meticulous and I'm disciplined and I do what I have to do when I have to do it. You shouldn't get a medal for that. But how many people do, and how many times do we have to hear it is what it is or whatever? Screw that. How about if we make it what it should be? Hey, Jason, how are you, sir?
Yeah, I
Good,
don't
how
know
you
much of
doing?
Good. We're glad you're here. Don't say anything about California. We got a guy named Boyd on. He just got out of jail. He's a serial killer. He's very upset tonight. So let's just try to keep it chill.
Oh, understood.
I'm enjoying this, guy.
You better enjoy it, brother. Life is short. You got to turn the damn volume up. Have some fun.
That's true.
All right,
Yeah, I hope
Jason.
you know that
We're-
as long as you're not in jail, you can still register to vote.
girl, give Kamala a little time, and in jail you'll be able to register to vote.
Yeah.
In most of these cities, they give you a driver's license and turn you loose. Listen, one last question. I'll shut up and we'll ask Jason and Wendy. I'm a historian. I love history. I'm blessed to be living in this country, and I could lecture you all for 4 hours on Ben Franklin. He did laugh your butt off. How did we come up with an attorney general that is against voter ID? Man, I can't go to the bathroom without showing my ID. You need it if you're gonna rent a car, if you're gonna get on a plane. So now we're gonna have elections with people that can't prove who they are. It's
But
shades
hold on,
of
it gets
Lyndon.
even better here, Larry. It
Well,
gets even
Peter,
better.
it's shades of Lyndon Johnson, who once wandered through a graveyard and somebody missed a tombstone. He says, that dead person has as much right to vote as every other dead person. Go ahead, Peter. And then let's hear from Jason and Wendy.
Absolutely, but the hypocrisy of it is you have to show ID to get into one of our rallies.
Yeah.
So if you have to show an ID to get into one of
Well, no. That's because Peter doesn't know this because he's Canadian. You know, God was on our side and Trump was shot at, but he survived. What Peter doesn't know, because he's Canadian and we keep it on the down low, there is nobody set up to shoot Kamala because the waiting list is so long. It's going to take him a couple years to screen.
Now you got to be
Hey,
careful.
Russell, I'm feeling it tonight.
You
Could
don't
you
have the
tell,
money
brother?
to bail you out.
Her audience is made by AI anyway. There's nobody really there.
Yeah.
This defies all logic, what's going on right now. But I'm just going to leave it there.
Rhonda,
Jason,
start
Jason
dipping
and
in
Wendy.
that swear jar.
I got it.
Nah,
It's
don't
right
worry.
here.
Listen, Jason and Wendy, and then we'll get to my boy Mike Larkin and Jeff Shearer. We're talking about the fact, and I got us off track. Excuse me, I have bad ADD. That we have more inventory, and I said that we should have a drive to try to get Republicans back in office to get these interest rates down and get back to the basics. No, that was I'm not kidding about it. So, Jason, what is your thought? And Wendy, what is your thought that what we can do to balance the fact that we have too much inventory, a lower sell rate, and interest rates make it tough to close a deal? Jason, you or Wendy, whoever wants to go first.
Wendy, you go ahead.
Can't hear you.
Wendy.
Wendy.
Good. So unless Rhonda can read lips,
All right, here we go. I was going to tell Wendy she can go and go.
Yeah.
No,
We can
go
hear
ahead.
you
I
now.
dodged a bullet. I dodged a bullet because I said, damn, when I realized I was muted and I was all fired up. So, all right. So check it out. First of all, you guys know me. It's the human side. Okay. It's the human side. It's the human side of AI. It's the human side of this, that, the other. Back to basics. Absolutely. Number one, before I listened to all the rest of you, it was we need to teach our people how to sell the appointment, not the car. Again,
Yeah,
it's
if you
not
can't get
from
them
the
in, you
post-
can't sell them. Can't sell
it's
them if
not
they're
from
not
the
there.
peri-COVID and the post-COVID time where we had to make appointments and we had to make every call an inventory call because inventory was scarce and we had, whatever we had. Guys, we got inventory now. Stop turning every call into an inventory call and pre-qualifying the customer, or better yet, they're not selling the appointment, they're selling the car. They need to get them in on options. We work with over 40 strong lenders with dozens of programs for people with all types of credit, because a lot of people that used to be prime are still subprime because of COVID and vice versa. So you have to make it equally important to those with well-established credit and those that aren't, because the subprime market is growing. And they need a card. They don't need that ad leader over there. So it's super simple. They call you or they email on an ad leader, right? Obviously. And but you tell them, yeah, great news, Mr. Customer, that vehicle is available as well as several close matches. And then you get them in, right? But of course, with empathy, you have to have a road to the appointment the same as you have a road to the sale. You have to add it used to be GAG, greet the customer, acknowledge the lead source or the creative that brought them to you, and go for the appointment. Now it's more like gauge the situation, GAGE, or engage, or be engaging. Engagement is an all-time low with our internet lead management and our missed calls when we have dropped calls. When we don't have adequate phone coverage for the inbound calls. We're not looking at our track numbers to capitalize and call back those dropped calls in sales or service BDC. So we're missing those opportunities. We need to be engaging. We need to build rapport. They're doing the same thing they did 30 years ago when we had paper ads where they called us on a Saturday morning with a list of dealers and a list of pictures that they circled on the newspaper, and they're looking for a reason to cross you off their list when they're planning their Saturday drive. It's the same thing. They've done their research. You have to be better than everybody else. You have to tell them that you care. They don't care what we know unless they know how much we care. So we're people helping people. CRM, garbage in, garbage out. Now that we're employing AI in our CRMs and everything else, even if we're using AI to analyze our data, what kind of data are they analyzing?
Shit
if you're
data.
putting shit in the CRM or
Yeah.
nothing at all, what do you got to analyze? You don't have and the same thing when BDC sets the appointments and salespeople pre-qualify them and broom them off the damn lot before they even walk in the showroom door. Or, sorry guys, I say it like it is, right? That's why they call it Wendy's take. So they don't close the deal in the sales department because they don't have their inventory priced the right way, so it doesn't book out right, so they don't have the right lenders to get these people that are borderline in credit, whatever. So what do? They delete them from the showroom desk log so that the GM doesn't see their poor close rate on the sales. BDC pushed the traffic. They got the good shows to leads, but not if sales is deleting the showroom visits. So we need to work together.
When you just made me think
One
of
more
Mark.
thing.
Hold on, now you can finish, but you made me think of a Mark Twain quote. There's lies, damn lies, and then there's statistics. We all know that we can make a statement look like anything we want, and we can certainly make a showroom log look like. You're 100% right.
Yeah.
Well, and then the other thing is we're creating a broken culture because, and this is a current day situation that I have, the salespeople were fudging their numbers. They weren't using the CRM or mobile app or otherwise to log their calls or their telephony system. They were calling with their phones. They're not compliant with the texts. The dealer's going to lose their butt when somebody finds out that they're texting and calling from their own devices. They're not doing that. Finally got that right. Now they're deleting visits, or they're saying BDC isn't setting the appointments. We're setting the appointments. Why do you want to create that culture? Why do you not want all the fingers on the hands working together for a better impact and a better customer experience? Why do you want to have one go on one way and whatever, or call it rowing in the same direction? Call it Fred. Peter's getting loopy. So he's talking in sign language now. He's like, so I got to land the plane. But bottom line is, everybody wants AI. Everybody wants a red or blue pill to fix their numbers. You're putting the wrong data in the CRM or not at all. So you got to report it accurately in order to have a starting point from which to fix it. So stop selling the cars over the phone. Just sell the appointment and bring the people in. Give them an information day visit. Okay, Mr. Customer, I understand you got some things you want to look into. Let's make it an information day. Come on in. We'll go over all the options you have for vehicle and financing. And within 30 to 45 minutes of your arrival, I'll give you everything you need to make an educated buying decision. Sound good?
Perfect.
You have 30 minutes, don't you? Who doesn't have 30 minutes? So I'm landing my plane.
That's right. This is just
Before
a
we go to
information.
Before we
I'm
go
just
to
gonna throw
Jason
something.
Reed, hold on.
Well,
Before
when-
we go to Jason Reed, and what's wrong? And I know I'm going to sound like I'm a million years old here. What's wrong with doing walkarounds in the showroom? What's wrong with I'll sell
I'm
you your car,
sorry.
you
I'm
sell
sorry.
me?
What was that? What was that?
But that's what we talked about, going back to basics.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right.
Well-
We asked Jason and then we shut him down, and then let's hear from our boy Jeff Shearer and Mike Larkin.
Yeah,
Jason,
well, I
Alright,
just
what
want
do
to
you got on
jump
your
in
mind?
on for 1 second.
Yeah,
Uh,
please.
Good.
Jeff, you're in the kiddie section of the showroom because you're obviously in a little on a little stool because you can only see half your head.
Yeah. There you go. You see your eyeglasses now.
Yeah.
There you go.
There he
There you
is.
go.
There's a full little guy.
You little guy.
Jason, now that
Yep.
we've accentuated Jeff Shearer from the neck up, please tell us what you have in mind.
All right. So first of all, Wendy, how do I top that? I mean, that is, my gosh. I mean, where
Freaking
do I
fire.
go from there? But there's so much more. Okay. So, sales are slow. We get it. So that means you have to pay attention to your inventory. You have to walk your inventory. You have to know what you have in stock. You have to know your switch cars. Customer comes in. Oh, well, that car just sold. What else do I put them on? I mean, hell, that's why Jason Rice's program and platform is very popular. It's because it tells you the switch cars. I'm not going to sound, it's going to sound conceited, but like, I don't need it because I walk my inventory. Now, we all know the profit is made at the acquisition of said vehicle as well, especially, obviously for the used car department. Okay. You have used car managers that are in love with the product, in love with the metal. They pay too much for the car. Rather than think of the long game of, I need to price this to market, regardless of what I cost. Cost is irrelevant to what the market will pay for the vehicle. Who cares if I paid, $18,000 for this $15,000 car? It's still going to sell for $15,000, whether it sells this week, 2 weeks from now, or hopefully if the market stays the same a month from now. But these used car managers want to sit there and attempt to recoup the loss on the first go round and sell that car for 18, sell that car for $3 or $4 grand out of market. And then what happens? It sits, it ages,
That's right.
it ages, and then all of a sudden they got to sell it for an even bigger loss, or they send it to the auction, yada yada yada.
'Cause they
Whatever.
fell
Wait,
in
wait,
love.
Jason, that's because they don't realize the most beautiful view of a car is when the taillights are heading out of the building. So
Exactly. So you have that being a problem there. Okay. So your price too high. So your leads aren't coming in. The leads that are coming in are the crap 400 beacons that can't afford anything. And you're not going to be able to put them in the car because you're so out of whack anyway.
don't
And you
say
don't know a
400,
switch car to begin with.
Jason. Don't beat up 400 in Trenton. That was a paper.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm going to pull a column here and say you got to get to the root cause of the problem in whatever situation you're dealing with. If leads aren't coming in, figure out why. If your cars aren't priced to market, price into the market, get the leads in, work on the trade, snatch the trade, steal it, work on the financing, get that angle. Hopefully you get the trade. Hopefully you get the financing. You recoup some of the losses. You price that trade right. At the end of the day, how many people have done a super gross spreadsheet to see what deal number one creates over the life of 6-8 months down the road? I have. I know what I've done, and I did it once. The last 6 months of last year, I took 1 month of deals or 1 month of trades. Those trades, even though the bulk of them lost money on the first deal, or the auction buys, or what they were, rather, sorry, it was auction buys, lost money on their first deal. Throughout the rest of the year, the deals that went down for those deals after 1 month netted $468,000 in profit. But you don't
Because there
know
was a
that
plan.
because you don't look at the long game. You're not planning for the long game. You're planning for the right now. And the right now is not where it's going to go. We've talked everything about changing personalities, how we appraise cars, how we view cars, how we do things on the internet. That's because we're long-term thinkers. We're big people, big picture thinkers. And it's the same reason why a GM or dealer principal will let go of that mechanic over $2 an hour. But the loss of what they're going to get.
No, we like that, Jason. I make a lot of money when I get text hired. Listen,
I know you do. I know you do.
That was brilliant. Before we jump to Jeff Shearer and Mike Larkin, I believe after careful studies, they have figured out the root causes of the problem. It's at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue.
Okay.
It's a senile guy and a lunatic.
Just before we get on to the next one, Larry.
Can I say something to Jason real quick?
Yeah,
Jason,
go ahead.
You talked about old inventory, but I always had a rule that if I had a car 90 days, I had to write it down in the book or 10%, whichever was greater. You got to, like I said, people do what you inspect, not what you expect. So
That's
Yeah,
correct.
but
Mine
before you
is
get to
10,
that,
mine's
but
10%
before you
at
get to
60.
that, Boyd, you got 100 other elements. How quick is stuff getting out of the shop and onto the front line? How fresh?
72 hours. 72 hours was my
Well, then you
my
were doing it
thing.
right. I didn't mean to interrupt you guys. Go ahead and
So-
Great
whenever you
stuff.
feel
Thanks for
guys-
sharing, Jason.
Yeah,
No problem.
so-
My write down's 10% at day 60. If it's a high-end luxury vehicle, like obviously Benz, if it's over 100K, I get 90 days before it's written down. At 90 days on the other units that were written down at 60, it's a 40% write down.
Wow.
So you want to know what my turn is? Sub 30 on everything I can get it.
There you
and
go,
it's
baby.
gone.
Sure, you can't
Gone.
afford the hit. It's
No.
smart. It's necessity is the mother of invention. You don't want to take the hit.
100%.
Yeah,
I
because
just spent-
you're tying up a lot of money sitting on that lot. Same
Yep.
with parts. It's not parts on the shelf, it's dollar bills on the shelf.
And in case nobody's noticed, the interest rates have gone slightly up on floor plans, just slightly.
Yeah.
People are jumping out of the window.
Yeah,
All
well,
right,
your floor
When
plan
Boyd's
costs
done, Jeff, we'd love to hear from you and Mike, please.
Yeah. So just quickly, I just spent 2 days in Chicago with David Spizak and a couple other used car wizards, and the things that are being said tonight are absolutely spot on to what they were giving us in the lecture. The one thing that Spizak said was, if you lower your gross profit on your front end of your deal, you'll spin more cars over your turn will be 16, 18 times a year rather than the 9, 10 you're at right now. And if you're averaging $1,600 gross on the turn right now, and if you did it at a lower turn of say $400 gross, you will net out at $4.6 million more over the term of the year. With
Sure, because you're fooling
1/4 of the
yourself with
gross.
what the real cost of the car is when it's sold, because you had the
Yeah.
carrying costs.
true.
Yeah, because you're putting huge money through your service department, because you're putting way more cars through. You're doing all kinds of different things to it, and the actual large spreadsheet, as Jason was saying, is phenomenal at the actual end value, and it's the people that are looking at the short game are just going to be crushed. And that's where dealer consolidation is coming hard.
I wanted
right,
to be
Jeff,
known
that's
that
brilliant.
Peter called me a wizard, everybody. So
Yep.
I am a wizard now. I will be referred to as the wizard from there forward.
Don't worry about it. I'll make sure that gets out on the internet, Jason.
All right, Jeff and Mike, let's hear from you, fine gentlemen. We value your opinion.
Jeff, go ahead.
He's going, but he doesn't have his mute off. There you go.
Easiest excuse.
Sounds
We
familiar.
don't have enough leads, or Shelley Levine, the leads are weak. You know, work what you got, man. You know, and I've said that forever since I've been involved in CRM and lead gen. Do you really need more leads? And granted, you might, but that's not going to solve your problem, probably.
The
Hey,
problem,
Jeff,
yeah.
did you ever feel like saying to these guys when they complain about not enough leads, when was the last time you were in the service department, you moron? You talk
Well-
about captive deals that are right there.
And that's part of my point. You know, so maybe you get one lead a day. Well, what is your alternative? To sit around for the next 7 hours and do nothing? You know, do something, man. Dig into the CRM, go to the service department, because there's people there. You know, that's fish where the fish are, right?
Wait a minute, hey, Jeff, do we all agree, and I'm glad about it because I'm a recruiter, that turnover has been an immense problem the last few years? What about orphan files?
Thank you.
Huge. You know,
That
and
that and service.
you know, what's the easiest, and I'll defer, I'm speaking kind of for Wendy's forte on this, but what's the easiest conversation to have if you're calling orphan? hey, I've got somebody that might be in the market for your 2020 Camry. Are you still driving that? Right? Why would they not talk to you? You know, and granted, no, I sold that. Well, great. What are you driving now? You know, it just perks the conversation. Just wanted to touch base, you know,
Well, it's very,
and
it
second
it's,
point,
hold on, all you're explaining there is a relationship.
well, it's getting off your ass. It's doing
Yeah.
something other than waiting for the phone to ring, waiting for that e-lead to come in, you know, because
Yeah.
yeah, you might get one or two today, but you know what? I want 5 good leads today.
But Jeff,
That's my
Okay.
goal when I come
Yeah,
in.
Jeff,
Just
Jeff,
get on that one
dealers
step
spend
there.
I'm sorry, Jeff, dealers spend a ton of money getting new customers, but they don't spend enough to retain the customers that they have.
I said
Bingo.
these are people that already bought from you. Unless they hate you, which they're going to tell you right away, or hate the salesman. Well, you know what? Good news is he's not here anymore, and I'm here to take care of you. You know,
Well,
and that's a little cocky, but
So
So-
here, just before you continue
I-
on that, I just want to jump on that lead gen thing for a second. I just signed on to LinkedIn and I saw a lead generation company celebrate that they provided their dealers 71,000 leads, in market leads, in the last 30 days.
Oh my
Okay,
God.
71,000. But in that statement, they said we provided 71,000 leads to over 1,000 dealerships in 30 days. So let's do the math. That's about 65 leads to each dealership in 30 days. That's 2 leads per dealership per day.
Woo! Phenomenal numbers, man. Let's give
how
him an
much do you
award.
think you're paying for those leads?
Yeah. And how many of those leads are good?
well, and you know, and yeah, are they only sold to your dealership, Mike Larkin?
No.
We'll talk on that. You know, but here's the other thing, and this really gets back to Larry's baseball thing, and it just encapsulates it with 2 words: be different. You know, and we say this all the time to our clients that are in the tire business. What a commodity, man. People are calling to get a price on a specific tire size. Do you have that? Yeah, I got them starting at $199. Thank you. You're welcome. Click. There's nothing they're doing to be different. And it's just that. Pause for half a second. Ask questions before you give an answer. You know, and it sounds so simple, yet salespeople, I think, are still lazy. They're, you know, or nobody's told them, you know, the Larry Feldman way. Don't answer that with a quote until you ask some questions. Right.
And listen, Jeff, even if your original statement was, oh yeah, he's not here anymore. I think my statement would be, yeah, we had to fire him. He wasn't making enough on customers, but I'm going to fix that up with you.
And then
People laugh is a good thing. Crazy works.
My last
I
statement.
want, okay, go ahead, Jeff.
Just last thing I want to say, whether it turns out to be red or blue in October in the White House, we're all going to survive.
No. We're not going to survive. We're going to thrive because
Right.
in a crisis,
Better.
people that are motivated find a way. I told my salespeople today, listen, if this goes the wrong way, okay, and I am staunchly against these lunatics, guess what? That means half the country is going to be walking around bummed out. And I've never in my life said business was bad. House business is great. Get people excited. So if we see a downturn, if we see things continue to trend badly, or God forbid there's a recession or something, all that means is the people that are on the phone and are still excited and still motivated have an edge. I'm worried, Jason, because I have a lot of friends that aren't doing great, and I see people suffering and stretching. And my only concern is, see, I understand voting in your own interest. If I said to you, Jason, why'd you vote for that guy? He's a crook. And you said, Larry, I got a construction company. I pay him money. I'll put a building up. All right, it's not right, but I get it. But I've never seen so many people vote against their own interests. People in the urban areas, back in the teachers union that don't want school choice.
They don't
Choose
even
to
know, they don't even know
utilize
why.
Israel
They don't
under
even
it
know
now.
why. They don't even know why.
No, he's right. They don't know why. It's based upon one or two things, or one or two things only.
Because
You
they
know, but-
feel good.
You know, it reminds me back of the Obama election. Everybody wanted to have, you know, he won, and a lot of people voted for him for one reason only. You know, wasn't because they knew anything about him. But anyway, that's a whole
No. You're wrong. He was so great that he got the Nobel Peace Prize for showing up.
Now, I do want to touch on something Boyd said. Boyd said they're not spending
Make
enough
this,
dealing.
Jason, make this
Yeah,
quick.
I
Boyd
will.
lives in no, he lives in California, and he's got to get on the suicide prevention hotline soon.
Understood. So Boyd said that dealers are not spending enough money on retaining customers. I think this goes back to a call that we had a while back, was the difference between loyalty and retention. If you're spending money on retaining customers, that's because you've screwed up. Okay, you've messed up. Okay, if you were maintaining a loyal customer basis by keeping your employees happy, by keeping the staff there, by keeping the employees paid, educated, doing what they need to do, you don't have a problem
Great
with
point.
retention. Okay. If you can find techs that can fix the problem right the first time and not have it come back, you know, where now we have technicians that are parts put it oners, parts put it offers. They're not mechanics. You know, like, where are the mechanics at? You know, these guys put on parts and they pull off parts off of of all data, you know. But if you continue down the path of thinking that, okay, I got to spend money to retain people, I got to spend money to retain people, wrong thought. Switch it to,
Not a
what do
lot
I
of
need to
money.
do for loyalty? If
Jason,
you have loyal employees, you'll have loyal customers, hands down.
but not really spending a lot of money, Jason. What I did once, I invited 4 customers that just bought a car plus old customers to dinner, and we just talked about what can we do better at the dealership to make you happier or take care of you. So
Oh boy.
I didn't spend a lot of money. You don't have to spend a lot of money, but just be creative. Think out of the box, like Jeff said.
I bring them into the Saturday meetings.
Some play. I remember once I had a
I bring
customer
them into
call
the
me
meetings.
screaming and hollering. I've never been treated so poorly at a dealership. You should be ashamed. And I remember saying, Mom, I'm a little busy. Can I call you later? Russell was starting to take me serious. I had to go a little bit out of whack there, or he would have got nervous.
I know when you're to take you serious.
Listen. Think about this. Jeff Shearer, who's just really been such a good friend to me and such a good guy, called me up and he said, Larry, I got a guy that might be able to help. I was at the movies. I was standing in line getting popcorn. Okay. I wrote it down because I always carry a pen. I'm an old nerd. And without fail, I called the guy exactly when I was supposed to. Let me ask you a question, and I'm going to sound like a dinosaur here. Forgive me. How many people do you know that are carrying pens these days? People type shit into their phone. 3 minutes later, they don't remember it. It's clogged with 9 million spam mails and 400 pictures of cats playing the piano. If we're not in a situation where we're constantly following up our people, where we don't do a things to do sheet the night before, what kind of behavior do we expect? Because as
Did you say
crazy as
pins
I
or
am,
pistols?
yeah, the real deal here is, you know what gets us through? It's not personality, it's consistency. It's doing what we're supposed to do on a consistent basis. And I don't think we're geared like that as a society anymore. Everything's catch as catch can. I don't see people making lists. And again, I'm suspicious of computers because once a week I have a guy call me and say, do you want my business or not? Sure, I want your business. Why didn't you answer me? Because it went into spam. Yes, Wendy.
So I really want to cap this off today and make sure that I say this because I was appalled when I heard these numbers. When I was at Dealer Strong, whether it was squeeze or non-squeeze, it was basically 80% in valid is a good number. You should engage with 80% engagement of leads. You should convert 70% of the people you talk to an appointment, and then you should have a 70% show rate, basically. Well, now they're saying 60% engagement is acceptable, and they got this from Four Eyes website, apparently, from last year's numbers. 60% engagement, 40% of engaged to converted to appointment set, and 50% set to show you guys. That's bullshit. That's like, what the heck? We got 10-year-olds working in the dealership. It's COVID is over. You need to go back to, you need to engage with 80% of your leads, or you're doing something wrong. You can't convert them to appointments and make sure they walk in the showroom door, whether you got BDC or sales department or salespeople.
Yeah, let's just keep lowering the bar for everybody.
Hey, Wendy,
Yeah, that's what they're
Wendy,
doing. They're lowering the
Wendy,
freaking bar.
Did you
Wendy, just
notice
don't
when they shot
sugarcoat it,
Trump
okay?
that the Secret Service agents were 5'2"? Because the moron that they just resigned said, I want the force to be 30% women. You know what I want the force to be? The baddest, toughest, strongest guys around. Okay? Now, that's for Trump. For Kamala, let's get some pygmies and some blind people. That's equitable too.
All right.
Jeff, you had something to say.
Mike Larkin needs to talk.
Yes.
Go ahead, Michael. We love to hear from you. I'm sorry.
You're talking about Kamala's cabinet. Anyway,
no, wait a minute. There's one
best one
hold
so
on, let
far,
me be fair before
Larry.
you go. There's one good
Neither.
piece of news. One good piece of news. No matter what she does, she can't do worse than Anthony Blinken. We went from Mike Pompeo to Blinken. Go ahead.
I can't wait to see her on Saturday Night Live. I mean, the White House. Oh, yeah.
Same difference these days. Go ahead.
She can play herself on Saturday Night Live. Anyway, we were getting to his inventory, the haves and the have-nots during COVID. Everybody was a have-not, right? I mean, nobody had inventory. So what if just throwing it out there, if the manufacturers were rewarding some of the top, in the past, top sellers, they get whatever inventory they had. True? Not true? So now for a dealership to not have the inventory, they've been through this before. So my question is could you sell, ship, deliver into the driveways with running business with a scarce lot? Can that be done as it was in COVID? If you don't have any inventory, they were moving metal, but it was virtual metal. Now can you do it if you don't have inventory? Because everybody else does.
But the problem, Michael, is you're always pressured. I always used to kid around my rep. He was a nice guy. His answer was always the same: take more cars. I can't sell the cars I have. That's it. Take more. That'll help. So you have a certain amount of pressure, just like everybody on the planet knows that they're trying to squeeze a lot of dealers out. And they kind of like the idea of the Elon Musk, well, we'll just say it's virtual. And yet they keep pressuring dealers to pay $20 million for a building. So I like your idea, but the problem is if you don't play ball with the manufacturers, they can restrict you and stop you from getting what's hot. And eventually interest rates do come down and you don't have the recovery period. Everybody agree with me? I mean, this whole
Larry,
thing's a running game.
Larry, that's so true. I was in a dealer meeting and they told us point blank to our face that they were going to get rid of us, that they didn't need us.
If you remember a few years ago, they got rid of dealers, not the bad guys, not the crooks. They went to people and said, you've done a fabulous job for 30 years. We're getting rid of you. How do you do that? Man, I remember the days when the franchise laws were inviolate. If you tried, you couldn't mess with a dealer.
That's not anymore.
No.
And they got rid of a ton of small dealers that were serving small communities that have to drive 100 miles to get to a dealership now. So that's sad.
Yep.
They don't care. They told us point blank, we don't need you.
Well, Ford tried doing that.
That's who Ford. That's who I was with.
Ford's a Ford guy for 30 years.
But I'm saying they did it 4 times over their history, and each time they've done it, they've failed miserably.
Thank you.
Well, these are the same geniuses that did the escort lease, where if you had a 100 credit score, they put you in an escort lease. What'd they lose on that, Boyd? $500 million. Remember that? Everybody was driving around in a 2-year escort lease.
I threw a Ford rep out of my dealership because he had just graduated from college and he was going to tell me how many cars I had to sell and what cars to sell. And I
Well,
asked him,
wait, that wasn't very nice, boy. You don't want to be abusive to
Well-
mentally disabled people.
well, but I told him, I said, have you ever sold a car before? No. I said, but you're going to come in here and tell me how to sell a car, what cars I need to have in inventory, and you know nothing about the dealership. So that's the
Well, here's what I
mentality
know.
that they have.
Successful people do daily what average people do occasionally. Control the controllables. It's not new cars. It's used cars, finance, and fixed operations. You only control about 20% of new vehicles. That's it. Manufacturer controls the rest. I'm going to get mine in an up market. I'm going to get mine in a down market. Doesn't make any, I'm going to get mine, period.
My
Yeah.
philosophy always was, if business is slow, I'll just steal somebody else's business. There's
Well-
always somebody out there running and pushing and
And with
smiling.
all that, I have to go watch the news to absorb some more stuff. Okay.
Well,
Hey,
well,
everybody, if anybody has any final thoughts, if not, it is so good to see every one of you. Boyd, we appreciate you. Mike, I know we
Yeah,
have
Boyd,
some conversation.
good to meet you.
yes, thank you guys.
Yeah.
I
Look forward to seeing you again.
enjoyed this. I
You're
enjoyed
welcome
this.
anytime.
Something
Boyd, I
gets
sent you a LinkedIn request. Please accept, and we'll converse some more.
That's
I
right.
will. But keep
All right,
in mind,
anybody-
guys. Keep
Anybody
in
else
mind,
have
guys.
anything else? So we
Yeah,
can
keep-
we can all share in the
Yeah, I got
misery of
one
it.
last thing. If nobody told you they loved you and they appreciated you all today, let me be the first. Okay.
Okay.
We
But
love you too, Russell.
keep in mind,
Thanks,
guys.
Russell.
Keep in mind, guys. Something gets bought and sold every day.
That's right.
And I want to be the one.
like our country and the Constitution. That's a whole different story.
Let me tell you what, while they're debating if the glass is half empty or half full, while they're debating which one is which, I just pick it up, drink the damn thing, and move on down the road. That's what I do.
I love it. Hey,
Have a good-
everybody,
have a good evening, guys.
we appreciate you to death. We'll see you next week, and everybody stay healthy.
Bye.